This
get the
conference will now be recorded.
was you able to get
Yes,
the GUI?
yeah, tell me, Andy.
No, I wanted to know if Samuka was able to get the GUI.
No. Yesterday I checked with him, but actually he takes that from some another vendor. Okay, so he is not having that access directly, so he will be talking to that person. And he was supposed to give yesterday night. I was waiting, but again today I will be following up with him. So for that reason, I will keep the today's session small because it is more practical. I would like to this session to be more practical oriented. Even if I have taken the screenshot, but that will not be helpful because seeing in the system and taking a screenshot, that is a different altogether. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So in fact, yesterday also I checked in my system and what are the topics yesterday we've covered. In the last 10 minutes, I will just show you whatever I have done. And you do not have access to SAP GUI system, right? You have, or how is it? Or payroll?
No, I have access to my testing environment. And then in our own system, but there's not much in payroll, only in OMPA and some other modules.
Okay, so you are not means you are able to access US payroll related node, right?
Yes, I can access the nodes. Yes.
Okay. So I would suggest, because whatever system I think he will be giving it, I don't think it will be upgraded latest one and something like that. Always I face the same problem. So thing is, I will suggest we will work together because I will be doing in my system whatever, and you will be doing in your system. Okay. Then we will discuss the same. Okay. So today I'll be giving some assignment to you, like whatever topics we have covered yesterday. Okay. So towards the end, I will be giving that assignment. That I will WhatsApp you that thing, and we will work together because the thing is there are certain changes also happened in the system. What I was observing the last time when I was doing AS payroll, a lot of changes happened. So I need someone, means you need to actually do and actually make your hands dirty in the system. Even if you have to understand each and every input type, field, subtypes, I expect that because questions may come from everything, all the area. You should know all and every terminologies. So you should not skip anything. So I always go very deep. People say at high level, but I always go very deep inside each and every info type, each and every field, and each and every terminology we should understand. Otherwise, there is no point in going through all this. Anyone can read and all. So for that, my intention is to study deep dive everything in detail oriented. Okay. So we will go accordingly. Today, actually, for that reason, I will keep the session small, around 50 minutes to 1 hour maximum. So then tomorrow, once we have the system, and we will discuss. Okay.
In ECP, I wanted to ask a quick question on ECP. You know how the in the integration when you're configuring the ECP side of things for the integration between EC and ECP.
Okay.
There is a point there where they said where they talk about what is that now? Something about set the wage type, the component, making sure that
I also have that slide with me. Let me quickly go to which we are talking about.
Yeah, making sure that the pay component.
This is your 24 steps you're talking about.
Yes, I found this one, so you don't need to do this for me. I found it in the all-in-one. So I was asking you yesterday about the 14 steps, maybe 24 steps and the 17 steps. So don't worry because I found it. So I just finished reading it now. But I just wanted to ask a question, which is I think the number is comparing. Number 17. You see there, it says the pay component and which. So I was reading the details. What does this mean? Does it mean that can you download the pay component configuration in EC in on-site premises?
Pay component and wage type configuration report check. You mean the last point, right? 17.
Yeah. So this report, can you download the report? Oh, I mean, I couldn't understand it.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, this is more related to that. One point is related to the check tool. Another point is there is inside the check tool you can download, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah,
That is
yeah.
the one. And
Okay.
waste type configuration you can always means I will tell you means that screenshot I have not taken here, but definitely I will help you in this. Okay, so I just make a note of it, and
Yeah.
I will definitely help you tomorrow. Okay, I will
Okay.
find it out which one
Okay.
is actually yeah. Anything else from here?
No, because I didn't understand to make sure that both sides are the same, and I wasn't sure. Can you download what was already configured in, let's say, on-site premise into ECP or
Okay,
EC? Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
I got it. So
Yeah.
I will definitely go through it.
Okay.
So we'll go through it.
Yeah.
So today we'll start our session with day 3's UST year-end tax adjustment. Before we go ahead,
Yeah.
like yesterday we were discussing W4, W2 and all. So you were telling W2, what is the W2? So from a process point of view, I just make a diagram of it, like how you will understand W4 and W2. Okay.
Okay.
So this is a clear understanding, like whenever employee is hired by an organization, so they will be providing particular hiring date or pay date. They will be also providing a pay rate, how much you will be paid per month or if it is a bi-weekly per 15 days. So these things will be during your onboarding process it will happen. Then
Okay.
employee, whenever during your onboarding process, he will be filling up the IRS form, that is the Internal Revenue Service, that form from, or we call it W4. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what employer will do, so he will be adding those data, whatever you have filled up in the W4 form. Okay.
Okay.
So he will be filling it in the payroll system. In our case, it will be whatever in the EC payroll system, he will be filling all those. Employer will be filling up those. Okay. And employee will be providing those whatever the allowance certificate, and it will complete that. Once it is done, the ongoing process will work like, so you will work for 1 year, completely 1 year, and every month you are paid a certain amount as per agreement.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
there will be certain tax you will be paying whatever you have mentioned, means according to your W4 withholding data. Okay. Then as you are mentioning, you have yesterday you were telling that you are filling it up W2 form. Okay. And that is your done at the year end. Okay. So
Yes.
employee, you will be doing as an employee, you receive the W2 form at the year end. Okay. On or before 31st of January. Okay.
Okay.
Your employer will be providing that IRS, and for all the employees for the entire year end, and that is your W2 wage and tax statement. Okay, so you call it
Yeah.
W2 tax statement. In India, we call it Form 16, 16 Form 16. It is very similar.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is just for a knowledge sake. How
Yes.
if someone asks what is
Okay.
it's basic, nothing to
Yeah.
related to year end, but you have to understand where exactly
Yes.
it is coming from.
Okay.
Now we'll be starting our main topic for today, that is your year-end tax adjustment and the workbench. Okay, so there are actually 8 steps I mentioned inside the 7 steps, 7 box actually. Okay, but out of this, all of this we have to understand 2 or 3 steps. Other steps we already know it. Okay, so
Okay.
when it comes to new step, only 2 or 3 new steps are there. Okay, so I'll be explaining you one by one, like what are those steps. First we do as an we have to analyze as an employer. Okay, suppose I'm an employer and I have to analyze employees payroll results. So what are the payroll results for the pay adjustment, if any adjustment happened inside in that particular year, if any payroll tax related adjustment is happening. Okay, so that I
Okay.
have to understand. Second one is depending upon that, we have to go to there is a info type called 221. Okay, so that is a tax all kind of tax adjustment, and also you have to go through that. And I will be going to detail, like in 221, what are the different varieties of subtypes are there, how to fill it up. There is a separate transaction for that. We'll discuss that. Okay, this is at a high level. Then maintain payroll status. So this one you already know it, like info type 3, right? Info type 3 has a lot of payroll, from a payroll point of view, it plays a major role. Means up to how many months you have to want to retro, all those payroll run up to. There's a lot of fields which is very specific to payroll. That will be having a recap of it, as we know already about it. Then next step is you're creating info type 220 with correct data. Means whatever the correct data. So first, your second step, you have to decide correct subtype. There are 4 different subtypes are there. So which one is applicable for that employee, you have to decide. And in the 4th step, actually, you have to create that input type with the proper data. Once it is done, then you have to run your off-cycle payroll. Okay, off-cycle payroll for adjustment. Okay, there are type C, type A. There are different types of off-cycle payroll reason. Type A, actually, your bonus payment and all. So there are different types of off-cycle. That is also you know about it, how to run an off-cycle. Okay. So once it is done, the next step is a run downstream posting. Downstream posting is that is a finance posting for account payable and all. So that is again we know it. Okay. The last one is a new one again. How to run a tax reporter. How to run a tax. So tax reporter tomorrow I'll be discussing, because that requires a system access and all. Otherwise, I will just prepare. Anyway, I will just follow up with Mr. Aditya team and Sanmukha. I'll be checking with them. And anyway, tomorrow I'll be discussing, because tax reporter has a lot of reports, which how to run those reports, how to check those figures. I will discuss it tomorrow. But having said that, now we'll be going to what are the different 8 steps, okay, into detail. But I'll be focusing on what are the new steps which are applicable for us. Okay.
I wanted to know what is that info type 221. What is that?
I'll be coming to that, so don't worry.
Oh,
I'll be
okay.
coming to that. We'll go in detail, because today's topic is focused on one info type only.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll be discussing only that particular info type today and nothing else. Okay, so I'll be going detail. So first step is, why do you run an adjustment? So there, what are the possible scenarios? Okay, so first you have to understand the business processes, under what conditions basically employee will be doing the tax adjustment. Okay, so there can be at a broad level. So like there can be many other regions as well. But here I have given some most frequently used examples. Like suppose you are overpaid, or you have some claims. Okay, or during a payroll error. Some error happened which is caught by your payroll analyst, but in this month you would like to, or next month you would like to adjust. Okay, it may happen. Or third scenario, it can be employee reporting error. Some kind of reporting related issues happened. The date of joining was supposed to be say 4th of January, but you have maintained it 18th of January. So accordingly some difference happened. Okay, so otherwise it may happen, employee was promised to join on particular day, he joined some other day. Okay, so but the data entered in the system is wrong. Okay, so in those kind of situations. And also the last one is delays or issues related to tax rate updates in your system. Okay, suppose you are supposed to update your system on say January 2020, but due to some reason you have updated your system say in the month of February. Okay, so accordingly 1 month's calculation will be recalculated. Okay, so you have to adjust that thing in the month of February. Okay, so in this kind, these are major scenarios under which actually we generally analyze the situation, and we adjust those payment in the next month. Okay, so this is a different scenario where exactly we do year-end adjustment. This is a part of your year-end adjustment process. Okay, so ideally November, December, if you're facing some challenges, by January of the next year you should be able to correct those things and it should be processed. So generally in the typical US payroll, I have seen mostly the November to March, February. So these are the most of the busiest hectic schedule for all the payroll consultant, analyst, all the payroll end user, administrator, everyone. Okay, so same goes with your half yearly adjustment process also. But year end is more important compared to the half yearly one. So this is the one. The second one is this adjusting the payroll status info type. That is your info type 3. So this one you are already aware of. So I'll be asking a quick question. So if you see, there are 6 different fields in the info type 3. Okay, so I will just ask to you. So what do you understand by these 6 I will just earliest pay personal RA date. What do you mean by it? Any
which one? The retroactive date?
Exactly. So all these 6 are actually interrelated. Okay.
Yeah.
But I have maintained only one field here, like run payroll up to 31st of May 2020 for employee 73, Mr. David Smith. Okay.
Yeah.
So for this employee, I have had in the system. It is a live system from my system. Yesterday only I tried this.
Oh,
And
okay.
so here you will just only you have to understand this. This is a recap again, like info type 3. What are the difference? These 6 different fields like payroll, retroactive accounting.
Mhm.
Just quickly, if you can summarize, like what do you understand by these 6, then we will proceed. Otherwise,
I
nothing
think,
to.
yeah, I think, for instance, this looks like an analysis that is going to be done for a half-year payroll run,
Hmm.
and it looks like the beginning of the period that they are doing the payroll adjustment period is from January 1 to January to 31st of May. So it's the first 6 months of the year, I think. And so to the earliest change is moved to the very first date of the first pay period. And then master data changes bonus, if there is any. Again, also from the very first day of the first pay period.
Okay.
And then the payroll up to means the very last day of the period being analyzed, I think. That's my understanding of this.
Yeah, you're correct. You are almost correct. So
Yeah.
here, almost same thing. I would like to. I means I tried the same thing in my system. Okay, yesterday I was trying, and the earliest pay personal RA date. Actually, I do not require it because in my scenario, suppose I do not want a retroactive. Okay, so otherwise you can put it here also.
Okay.
And do not account after means after that particular date. You should not consider that particular employee or in that particular payroll to run for that. You are and absolutely correct. This is nothing to do with our means we have already understood because it is also part of our basic understanding of a payroll. So for that reason, this is just but this is a part of your 8 steps which I am mentioning. 8 steps for a year-end adjustment process. Okay, so this is the second step which you already understood. Next is your third step, which is most important one, and I will spend much time here in because understanding this info type 221. Okay, so what is this info type 221? So actually this is an adjustment workbench. Okay, so there is a transaction called adjustment workbench. Okay, so I'll be coming to that once I show you the system. So in info type 221 you can't directly access, otherwise the important way, the ideal way of accessing this info type is via transaction. There is a specific transaction. There are 2 transaction code. One is your PAYUS, another is PAYY. So it is most important and very important to understand what is the difference between these 2 transactions and what is the purpose of these 2 transactions, how they work. Okay, and we'll be learning like for each and every transaction we have a different subtypes. Okay, that means info type 221 we have 2 subtypes for PAYX, and for PAYY again we have 2 transactions, 2 subtypes. Okay, so total we have 4 subtypes. Okay, under this category. Okay, so in this screenshot which I have taken, anyway I'll be showing you in the system. In this once you run the transaction code PAYX, the screen it will be looking like this. It will be called adjustment workbench. Okay, so you must have used some kind of workbench, off-cycle workbench, or year-end or full and final settlement, some kind of workbench. There are many workbenches in payroll, you know. So similarly, this is one of the workbench. So in your payroll, so can you just give an idea like what are the workbench you have bought? Like I'm sure you must have bought one.
I haven't done much of workbench, but I think the only one I probably used in testing was the off-cycle workbench. Yeah, I haven't used any other workbench. I know LSMW I think has another workbench. I haven't used it, but I think it has a workbench also, which I haven't used. Yeah. But I have used only the one for off-cycle.
Got it. So no problem. So here it is similar to that part of our off-cycle workbench you have what the basic idea is. It is a kind of an interface which is connected to different info types reporting. You can see in the screen it has connected to a manual input. First of all, you'll be putting the employee number and you'll be giving some kind of adjustment region and adjustment date. Then there are 2 things you will be seeing here, the TWEG and a DJT. So what is that? So first one is whenever you are using the transaction PAYX, okay, So there are two options. Okay, for each and every transaction, PAYX or PAUY, we have two options each. PAUX, we have two options, like with tax calculation or without tax calculation. Okay, so there are two options. Okay, so whichever is applicable for that employee, and depending upon the scenario. Okay, so you have to choose that particular options. Then as soon as you click this enter data, it will take you to the info type 221. Okay, so this is the indirect way of accessing the info type 221. So I will show you. So once you click this enter data, so it will take you to the info type 221 for that employee 73. Okay, and accordingly, if you like to change any data directly, if you click from this interface itself, okay, then it will take to that same info type, but it will be an edit mode. Okay, and the next one is the payroll. Once you click payroll, it will run payroll for that specific employee, and it will be running means for only one employee. Okay, suppose if you like to run for all employees, as usual, you can run your off cycle, okay, off cycle payment for those employees for whom the correction. But if it is a one employee, you can do it from the payroll from side, from this here. And otherwise, there is a reporting option. So it will be just run the report, and it will display what are the adjustment you have done and what will it look like. So this is the way this adjustment workbench, from a single interface, you have a lot of options. Like you do not have to run.
Which of the subtypes is this screen?
Sorry.
Which of these two subtypes? Although I don't know the meaning of the subtypes, which is the these two subtypes? Which one belongs to this screen?
Okay, so info type 221 has two subtypes. One is your TWEZ, and second one is your ADJT. These are the two subtypes. Okay.
Oh, not PA, or the PAU and PAUY is these are just transaction codes?
Yes, these are just transaction codes. So the main basic difference between PAUX and PAUY is PAUX is for the current year. Suppose any changes you are doing for the current year, but PAUY is for the previous year. Suppose for the last year, suppose you would like still something is pending. That is the main difference between PAUX and the PAUY. It will be more clear in the next slide. Okay, so here I clearly explained. Like you can see in the first column, we have here, so there are two transactions, PAUX, that is, let me color code it so that it will be more clear. Let it be orange. So PAUX, and similarly for PAUY transaction also, we have two different subtypes. Okay, so let me color code it this way.
Okay.
So this is a single transaction. So PAUX, under the single transaction, we have ADJT and TWEG. ADJT is for your without any tax calculation of the wage tax. So suppose it is just a direct payment, and this has no tax implications in that scenario. Okay. So in that case, we will be using this ADJT. That is this subtype we will be using. But if it involves any tax related thing or any tax calculation and the positive net pay only, okay, so in that case you will be using this TWEZ. Okay, so that is the two different scenarios under how to use which subtype. Okay, same goes with your PAUY. So one is without tax calculation, second one is the YAWA with tax calculation. But the difference is here, it not only takes care of it will check your backdated last year's data as well, and also another significant feature of this PAUY transaction is it allows both upward and downward adjustment. Okay, so here this is an important point. Now you can do both negative and positive. Okay, but that is not the case in case of your PAUX. Okay, you can do only one type. Okay, but in only positive case. But here in PAUY, you can do both. Okay, and another functionality of YANA is you have to use subtype YANA when you know the tax. So you already know how much tax to be deducted. Okay, that you already know it. Okay, but that is not the case of PAUX. So these are some key differences. I think this table is more than enough to understand what is the difference between two.
Okay.
I have clearly mentioned those two difference. And you will be asking, suppose in case of you are using the year-end workbench, this is the only point you have to understand in this. In total, out of 8 steps, step 3 is the most important one, and it is new. Okay. Otherwise, year-end adjustment, the remaining steps, it is as usual we do. Okay. Nothing different. Okay?
Yeah.
So this is another example which I have given. Suppose in the same transaction PYUS, if you are going there, then adjustment region. Okay, so you will be choosing year-end adjustment. Okay, suppose due to some other region, suppose for other purpose you are using, then you can use a remaining one like payroll results adjustment, expat adjustment, stock options. But for year-end purpose, you will be using the third reason. Okay, so that is the third one. Then other than that, once you click, so once as soon as I click that change, so if you click this change data, automatically system will take me to this particular screen. Okay, so it will say, it will go to the particular employee in that employee 73, and it will directly taking me to the subtype. So you can see the subtype is ADJT. Did you understand now, like how the subtype will be looking like inside the info type 221?
Okay. Yeah.
ADJT. Suppose you would have
this info type, I just wanted to understand, this info type is used to adjust any value, any payroll value. Is that what it is?
Yes. Any type of year-end adjustment or any kind of value you are going to change, which may have impact on tax, or it may not have a tax impact. Okay. So all kind of changes.
What I didn't see, for instance, if it's for instance, let's say an earning, maybe a wage type that is a deduction, or an earning wage type. Is there, sorry, maybe I missed it. Is there a field in the previous screen where that can be identified before you process?
No, wage type actually, if you see here,
so
actually it is just an interface. It will just interface to that screen, but then once you have chosen that, the wage type you will be entering in this data entry panel. Okay, inside the data entry, you will be adding whatever the wage type you are adjusting. Okay, but you do not have to enter this offset.
Okay. So
here
it's after. Okay, it's afterwards. Okay. Because I'm trying to adjust something, so I needed to know what are we adjusting.
Exactly. So that I have not entered here because I have not configured in my the new system which I have now. That is actually upgraded. So this one I have not. This is also the interface. It will look like a little different, right? So it is a completely web. Even if it is GUI, but it looks like a little bit different screens and all. So this one I have recently upgraded my GUI, and a lot of things are changes happened. Not in the input type level, but the look and feel a little different there. So some of the things actually you do not have to enter. Like as soon as you are choosing off-cycle reason ADJT, automatically it will take the 0110. So you do not have to remember what is the off-cycle reason. Okay. Automatically it will come. Okay. Similarly, the currency also you do not have to worry about because it also about already US payroll. So you do not have to enter. The only thing is you have to enter this wage type, and okay.
That's it.
So once you go, so in wage type also, this in the next screen I have given an example. What are the possible discussion I have discussed already. So these are the possible changes. Like these are the possible wage type. SAP has already given 432 entries for US. Okay, it can be withholding tax, it can be social security tax, Medicare tax. So it can be anything. So you have to just choose whatever is relevant for you and for that particular employee, and you can choose it for that employee.
I'll make the adjustment.
So in this way, you can choose. So once you have entered that value, then again you come back to the main screen. That is your PYUS. Okay. Then you will be running the payroll. Okay. So once you choose the running the payroll, okay. So it will ask like this is for one employee. As I was telling, the input means employee number 73 and subtype is ADJT. Okay. So that is an adjustment wage type, subtype. And once you choose, it will take you to the payroll driver program automatically. Okay. So from the same interface, it will take you to the payroll driver program, payroll area. Automatically it will take, and reason for payroll, that is your off-cycle payroll reason. You do not have to enter. Automatically it will come from that workbench. Okay,
Sure.
so same goes with your off-cycle payroll or date also. Whatever date is there, it will come. Okay, schema automatically it will be chosen. Okay, then you have to run the fourth step is very simple. That is, you have to just run the payroll simulation. Okay, so you have to just run the simulation. Then once it is done, then you have to run the final run. Okay, so then step number 5 to 7 is very easy. Just if anything is happening, you have to just run the off-cycle payroll. Then you do the finance posting as usual, and you do the third-party remittance, account payable posting, and all these three things. So anyway, these things I'll be discussing in the finance posting side whenever I'll be discussing the finance integration. Okay, but
Sure.
these are the normal steps we follow for any typical cycle of payroll. Okay, so same goes with here only.
Okay.
The last one is again run the tax reporter. Okay, so like once you have done with everything, so you can run the tax reporter also from the your that same screen from the workbench. The third step you can see there is something called reporting. Okay, so from that screen you can run this thing. Okay, but if you go manually, so how if you are going to a particular employee manually, you are going to try to info type C221, you will be seeing this kind of options. Okay, ADJ, TWEZ. So this is actually old system screen I have taken, but now I need to see the latest one, how it looks like. But this is old from my old project. I have taken this screen.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is I have already discussed how you can start the year-end workbench. The same thing I have discussed here. And instead of going through transaction from PYUX and PYUI, you can also go through the menu path. Okay. So like from SAP EG Access. Okay. So not SPRO, like the normal SAP EG Access. From there, you can go to payroll, Americas, USA, subsequent activities, then period independent activities, then your payroll supplement activities. Then there is something called adjustment workbench. So we call it PAUI, that is called adjustment workbench special retro processing, and PAUX is the normal adjustment workbench. So if someone asks what is the key difference between your PAUX and PAUI, from this also we can tell PAUI takes care of your all the retro as well from the last year, any changes happening. Okay, that kind of adjustment also it will take care. But PAUX is always current one, current adjustment, everything it will be taken care. Okay, so this is a way you can understand PAUX and PAUI. Okay, so this is all for today's conceptual session. Now I'll be switching over to the system and I will show you and how this transaction looks like. But in that system, I do not have a US payroll specific. Okay, so anyway, I'll be showing you once we receive the system. And before that, let me tell you something which I have yesterday I've done, and you can also try in your system. Okay, so this is a kind of a hands-on for you. Even I face some error in my, I have to correct those things in my system. So when it comes to hands-on, yesterday I just tried to hire, like as usual, PA40 transaction I have run. Okay, so you can try the same thing, like you start hiring an employee from say you can anything like 1st of January 2020 or 2019, up to you. You can hire, and after hiring you just try to maintain his org assignment, and if the payroll period has not been generated, you try to generate up to at least 2020 end. Okay, so you can maintain the payroll control record. Then
I don't think these are activated for me in the system. Okay. Yeah, that's my problem. You know, what I will probably do is I will buy access. I think there's an organization here where I can maybe buy access for 2 months. It's a little expensive, but maybe because that's the only way I can have. Because I think payroll will not be payroll backend will not be switched on for me at all in the current system. Yeah, I don't have a sandbox where I can easily go and do some practice.
Okay. So in your sandbox, you mean to say you do not have access to this?
No, what happens now is that I'm just about, let's see, what am I now? 3 months, going to 4 months here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so all I have is three environments for testing. And we're in a big project of trying to cover part of the organization and make them stand on their own. And so all the environments I have are all very sensitive quality QA environments.
Okay.
I haven't. Yeah, I've tried to get them to give me access to Sandbox, but we'll be too busy. Then coronavirus came and everybody gets very, you know what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I
Yeah.
understood your point. No problem.
Yeah.
So otherwise, you can connect with Mr. Sanmukha also, Aditya team.
Okay.
So they also provide. They will take that. Actually, even in my earlier session when I was teaching with the UK payroll and Canada payroll, we did the same thing. Like they didn't have their own access.
Yeah.
So even I do have my access, but that I can't share because
Yeah.
of
No. Of course
personal
not.
reason.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
personal reason. And also I can't show in the system because that requires the VPN connectivity. And if I connect to VPN, I cannot connect to GoToMeeting. And that is a
Yes.
challenge here.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is an obvious reason I can't show even if I want to. So yesterday I tried the same thing in my just disconnecting this internet, and I just tried to connect to VPN and tried a couple of things. Okay, so you can try the same thing even if I was getting some error in info type. So you may also initially you may find this kind of error, but I'm trying to
Yes.
resolve it because
Yeah.
it requires some kind of base level configuration which is missing in the as usual in the sandbox system. Okay, because nobody has in that sandbox. Actually, they work mostly in the Indian payroll. They have not activated some of the things, so I need to work on that. But I
Yes.
believe Aditya or team, whichever system they are giving, I think it should be activated there. I will not be getting this error. Okay.
Okay.
So for that reason, I couldn't run the payroll. I was trying to run the payroll to yesterday itself and try to
Yeah.
show some tax implications and all. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, this error came and I need to resolve it next 1 or 2 days. I
Okay.
need to see this. And other than that, other info types which I was talking about, right? Like info type 6, I was able to maintain address. Like I have just maintained address for California, and all these options are coming. All the 56 different states,
Yes.
countries, all these options are coming. That was there. Then similarly, you're creating this residence tax area. Okay, that we have discussed yesterday, and I was able to maintain this. So this was successfully I was able to like
Yes.
your tax area, federal tax, and state tax levels. All these I was able to maintain.
Okay.
Similarly,
Okay.
same goes with your creating your unemployment status. That info type also
Oh
I
yeah.
was able to maintain. Tax
Okay.
authority. So this was all successfully done. And
Okay.
similarly, your withholding tax, withholding information, that is your W4, W5. So this one basically your payroll administrator. So as I was mentioning today, so you will be having means your employer will be having access to this. He will be once you submit your form W4, okay. So
Yeah.
he will be filling it off by himself or herself. Otherwise, there can be another options like from the employee central, you will be having access. Suppose you are doing in W4 entry. Otherwise, if you are using ESS, old school employee self-service, from
Okay.
that if you are updating, then these fields will be getting updated. So this is the way. There are different way of updating this. This is another info type, create withholding info W4, W5. Yesterday, this was also I was able to update successfully. Okay.
Is there any
So
way?
other than
Is there any way? Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm going to be asking for something. I don't know if is it possible to put the navigation part on this document.
which one?
The navigation part. You know how you put the navigation part, so I know how you get to this point. In case I don't have access to the system, but at least I know how the.
Okay.
I have the
Actually, I will do
navigation.
that. I will definitely do that. Actually, this is just a draft mode. As soon as
Yeah.
yesterday I was trying in my hands Dati again
Yes.
with PYUS payroll. So
Okay.
I was just taking the screenshot from that. I have not edited this one. So this is just an uncut version, you can say.
Sure.
So I will
know.
just edit it, and I'll definitely just in the top section I'll be editing it, how I have navigated to this info types, this thing. So I'll definitely before the slides we finish the session, will be anyhow. I'll be editing this and I'll be sharing with you. No problem.
Okay. Thank you.
And yeah, welcome. So similarly, whenever you are creating any adjustment withholding info type, so these are the different options. Okay, you will be getting for supplemental. Suppose you're using a supplemental for a tax authority for California. If you choose supplemental method, these are the different options. 13 options for California you will be getting: regular, flat rate, rate table, and all this method you'll be getting. So same goes with your certificate status. Suppose if you're choosing the certificate status, like if there can be 5 different options. You can have no certificate, or if you are having a certificate of non-residence or exempt from withholding. These are different options you'll be getting in this particular info type. Create adjustment with info type. And if you are having any, suppose if you are trying to maintain everything like override amount as well as override, you will be getting an error. You should be maintaining only one thing, whether it is an override amount or it is an override percentage. Okay, so that is this info type is all about. So this is all about data maintenance and all.
Yes.
Same goes with your creating other taxes. So what are the different other possible taxes which I was talking about? withholding tax, earned income. So all this tax we can maintain, like from PAUX, PAUI, okay, all these things. So these are the different exercises that I tried my hands on, but I will recommend once you get the access. Anyway,
Yes.
I'll be upgrading this. This is a lab assignment. Okay. So this I will be upgrading, and I'll be updating the slides, and I'll be sharing with you once we're done. Okay. So
Okay.
this is all about for today's session. Let me quickly go through the. I'll stop recording and I will show the system, and you will be understanding how I have done.
Thank you.
Yeah.